Why doesn't my doctor know about some of this stuff? You know, doctors used to prescribe cigarettes to their patients. I believe a very similar situation exists today with meat and dairy. You know, doctors just see the same kind of ads that we do, and they just don't know. You know, the average physician in our country received less than 3 hours of training in nutrition in 4 years of medical school. And I think we focus a lot more on the treatment in our country than the cause of disease. Another myth is that you have to be overweight to die of heart disease, and that's not true. You can be trim and healthy looking on the outside and still drop dead from heart disease. That heart attack or stroke didn't just fall on you from out of a tree. It happened because of years and years of eating animal flesh foods and animal fluids and animal solids. And when the final pathology report comes in, it always says the same thing. It says saturated fat, which is animal fat, and cholesterol. It never, ever, ever, ever says remnants of broccoli, rice, or tofu. Now, I know I painted kind of a gloomy picture here, but the solution is really not as complicated as you think. I'm losing my... What I've learned from reading is that we are just far more like an herbivore, like a horse, than we are a carnivore, like that lion we saw. Carnivores have claws, and we do not. Carnivores have those short, sharp, pointed teeth. Herbivores do not, and neither do we. We have flat back molar teeth. We also have sliding jaw joints that allow us to grind grains and stuff, and carnivores do not. We have pores on our skin. Carnivores do not. We have very well-developed salivary glands, and carnivores have very small salivary glands. We have alkaline saliva. Theirs is acidic. We have ptyalin in our saliva, which is just an enzyme to break down starch, and they do not. The hydrochloric acid in our stomach is just 1/20th as strong as a carnivore's. And here's the very telling sign. A carnivore's intestines are very short and straight. Ours are very long and ribbed, 10 to 12 times the length of our body. You know, nature must know, get that dead animal in and out of the carnivore. It's not meant to sit around. All right, if you still think that you were designed to eat meat, you could try this experiment. Next time you see a cow on the side of the road, run, jump up on its back, and try to bite through that animal's hide. And what you're going to find is that your mouth is rather small, and your teeth are kind of small, and you're going to have a hard time biting through that animal's hide, let alone their muscle. I want to get back to these protein percentages because I think we're obsessed with protein in our country. Humans can easily acquire all the protein we need from eating plants. And look at some of these percentages, just like spinach is 49%, even tomatoes have 18%, broccoli 45%, even blueberries at 5% or raspberries at 8%. Those percentages are good enough for the human baby. I know for a fact I could never be deficient in protein, and it's just impossible to design a plant-based diet that's deficient in protein. You know, if you're still confused, think about, you know, where will I get my protein and calcium? Well, I get my protein and calcium the same place that cows do, and horses and elephants and giraffe and gorillas. It's from the plants because it's all in the plants. You know, calcium is plentiful in plant foods, as I mentioned, and calcium, by the way, is just a mineral. All minerals are in the earth. They're in the soil, they grow up into the plants, and that's how we eat them. Cow's milk is just perfect food for a baby cow. Do we have any baby cows in the room tonight? Well, if you were a baby cow, you'd have a 4-chamber stomach. You'd grow from 65 pounds at birth to 400 pounds by your first birthday. And by your second birthday, you'd weigh 2,000 pounds. You know, we need cow's milk about as much as we need rat milk or dog milk or monkey milk. Even adult cows don't drink cow milk. It's kind of silly when you think about it, isn't it? We haven't weaned ourselves off of the infant juice of another species. When I get off of dairy, and I just wish I'd done it sooner, I was free of acid reflux, headaches, I don't have sinus infections anymore, I have more energy, My complexion is better. I have some saddlebags here that I've tried exercising off my whole life, guys, and they're going. Everything, I feel so much better. I also have three children, and my two boys are age 8 and 9, had cow's milk, and we were on antibiotics for ear infections over and over and over. My daughter, who will be 2 in August, has never had cow's milk. She drinks rice milk or soy milk, and she's never had an ear infection. Well, there's a 35-year health study done, and the guy who ran it, the doctor said that if you keep your total cholesterol under 150, your chances of having heart disease are just like virtually not there. Does anyone know what the average cholesterol is in our country? 220. It's 210. Average, you don't want to be in America. At that rate, you've got like a 50-50 chance of dying if you're a man. The average cholesterol level for a vegan-type vegetarian is 133, and mine is like 110. Now this shows you cities from around the world, like San Francisco. Their per capita meat consumption from these different cities look pretty similar to their heart disease death and their bowel cancer death. Here's the great news. Stop eating animal flesh and fluids and solids, and this stuff washes away out of your arteries. Dr. Dean Ornish is one of the country's leading heart specialists. And people on his program cancel their triple bypass surgeries, start clearing out their arteries just by changing their diet. This is a quote from him. "I don't understand why asking people to eat a vegetarian diet is considered drastic, while it's medically conservative to cut people open or put them on powerful drugs for the rest of their lives." Plants are the source of it all. Again, think of the largest and strongest animals on our planet. Elephants and giraffe and gorillas and horses and camels and oxen and buffalo. These are vegetarian animals going to thousands of pounds with plenty of muscle mass on the plants. And it's a slower, gentler growth. You know, Japanese people had a traditional diet of rice and vegetables. And after World War II, they started eating more meat. Well, in just 100 years, look what happened. The girls would get their first periods at 16 and a half years old. And in just less than 100 years, it's down. You know, Japanese people had a traditional diet of rice and vegetables. And after World War II, they started eating more meat. Well, in just 100 years, look what happened. The girls would get their first periods at 16 and a half years old. And in just less than 100 years, it's down to 12. The hormones and all this stuff, I mean, we're robbing our children of their childhood. Children are physically aging and maturing much faster. Now, who wants that? But when you eat the standard American diet, it's sad. Get it? Standard American diet, sad. You get this processed, fatty, sugary, salty, concentrated food. And your tongue, it gets a huge whammy. So we get addicted and adapted to that kind of eating. And if you try to switch, the food can taste bland. You need to know that's just temporary. You know, you couldn't pay me right now to put a dead animal in my body, and that's a miracle to me. I've lost all desire for cheese. That's a miracle. Just 10 years ago, guys, I was a hamburger helper queen. I made meat and cheese casseroles all the time, and I grew up on milk and meat things. But I don't miss it, believe me. Oh my gosh. Ugh, gross. I know this is heavy stuff, and some of you didn't even want to hear some of this stuff, but for those of you who are interested, I urge you to investigate, to maybe make a plan for some meals and try it for a few months, see how you feel. You should know this. This is really important. Your entire body can be new in just 7 years. Every cell changed in 7 years. The hormones and all this stuff, I mean, we're robbing our children of their childhood. Children are physically aging and maturing much faster. Now, who wants that?